It's an awesome thought to realize that Jesus literally gave up his very life on the cross so that I and you could have life. He didn't give up on me, though I certainly was not deserving of any of his attention. But he gave his life so that I could have it. You know, many times in this life we see people going down a certain way, and we begin to think there's no way that they're ever going to allow God in their lives. But sometimes a miracle happens. Sometimes God steps in where man gave up. Such is the case with this young man by the name of Johnnie Stone. Many of you know Johnnie and have watched his journey over the last couple of years to see him go from one that was walking in the ways of the world wholeheartedly, and now is serving the Lord, now is training up his family to follow Jesus. Watch and listen as Johnnie tells you just a little bit of his story.
I was driving a truck and running all over. Took advantage of a lot of moments. Living the best way to describe evil life is dark. Can't cope with even the sunlight. The darker the better. The dark night, full moon is just about maximum light. And I knew deep down the Lord had been working on me, working with me. Well, he wasn't working with me because I didn't want his work. I was bucking and snorting, and I didn't want no part of this. And just the pressure I knew was coming straight from the Lord. And I talked to my uncle, and he told me that the Lord was just working with me. That's what it was. And to be ready. He couldn't tell me when it was going to be or what it was going to be, but he could tell me this, that the Lord was working with me, and that was for sure. Whether I wanted it to be or not, that's what was happening. And that people that I could relate with was fixing it, that's who was coming to tell me about the Lord. I was coming out of Mississippi, and sure enough, there's a guy that I could relate with. Past times, some of the same stuff that I'd been going, circumstances I'd went through. I didn't want to talk to him about the Lord. Wasn't no shape to talk to him about the Lord. Didn't want to hear about the Lord. The Lord kept talking. Well, let's pray. I didn't want to pray. The Lord put me in a position where I might not have been praying, but I was listening to some praying, and it just kept working with me. A dear friend of mine come see me, and Friday before Labor Day, and told me that. Just showed up, knocked on the door. I greeted him. How did he get a day off? What's he doing here? Wanted to invite me to church Sunday morning before Labor Day. Yeah, let me think about it. No, you don't understand. You're going to be in church on Sunday. I'm going to be there with you. It's got to be. He couldn't explain it. The Lord sent him. I was going to be there. Didn't matter if they had to tie me and drag me. I was going to be there. We was at Bull Creek Cowboy Church in Lone Oak, Texas. And it was, when I walked into this horse barn, that's what was a unique situation. I never went to a horse barn to hear about the Lord, but it didn't matter. Well, the first thing I said was, if it ain't got air conditioner, I'm out of here, because the heat was on. The Lord was pouring the heat to me, and that place has got the best air conditioner in town when I was up there. And people just kept pouring in. People that I knew, I judged my life, and I knew I was no way the Lord would have anything to do with me for what all of my accomplishments, and that wasn't no accomplishments because they was shut in the darkness. And some friends that I'd dealt with, why was they there? I went to church. listened. And that fall, the next day, I was saved out here 2 miles north of Emory at where I was raised at, in a shop that I'd worked many long hours in. And my uncle led me to this Jesus. It's been great ever since. It's not an easy road to hold. The Lord's always there. Just lean on Him.